Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here this morning. Appreciate your viewership. I have a good guest here in the studio. But first, let's take a look at our fishing game times. Let's look at the weather first. I'm just looking at fishing game times because we're talking about the wind direction and all that. But let's do our weather first. Brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning and Drew Pollard and his hard-working crew taking care of everyday comfort needs. Today, his high will be 75, low 63. Water temperature at the end of the pier, technically 65.7, so we can round it up to 66 degrees at the end of the pier. So basically it's going up 1 degree since yesterday. So hopefully it's going to go up another 1 or 2 degrees and Spanish will be jumping in the boat coming Saturday. So we'll let you know. Our river reading brought to us by Panama City, Coca-Cola. Both rivers are extremely high. The Apalachicola, 22.5. That is really high. Take a look at the Choctaw at Caryville. That's reading right now at 13.4, but it's dropping out a little bit. And they're calling for the rain. They pushed it back to Sunday, so we're going to keep our fingers crossed that Saturday will be a good day, we hope. So that rain coming in Sunday may bring the Choctaw back up. The tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. We're looking at the situation there. Today is actually the 14th of March, and we're getting into the good tides I've been talking about all week. Good tides today and the rest of the week. Saturday will be really good tides, and but a little bit of a neap tide today, but next couple of days is going to be strong. And our wind direction southeast at 8. Let's take a break, come back to our special guest. Okay, welcome back. I mentioned yesterday our guest today, Steve Shay. Welcome back.
Good to see you, Winston.
Always great to have Steve. Shay Wildlife, and he does a lot of things in the outdoors, and I consider him an expert in many fields because he spent his lifetime doing it. And so what have you been up to?
Well, I did a bunch of alligator surveys, usually first a year with the private lands FWC program. I do a bunch of alligator surveys all over the state. Got that all done. Been doing a lot of fishing this spring, freshwater fishing. You know, I lived on the Gulf, on the bay here, and I sold my condo. I'm building a house up on one of the Sandhill ponds.
Okay.
So I already got my boat dock up there, my boat, so I've been fishing all the Sandhill ponds, learning, going from a saltwater fisherman to a freshwater fisherman is a transition.
I told him I'm so proud of him. He got his priorities straight. Before he built the house, he put the dock in.
Yeah.
So that's his priorities.
I know it.
It's a good deal.
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of fishing, getting ready for the turkey season coming up this weekend. So.
All right.
Yeah.
So, and we were talking. The laws changed about you can get 2 turkeys in one day. You brought up a very good point. And tell us why you're in favor of that situation.
Yeah, I watched your show with Stan on it, and I know Stan didn't like the law, but I look at it in a different way. If you're a seasoned turkey hunter or turkey hunter your whole life, there's going to be a time you'll end up accidentally killing 2 birds at one time. It's happened to me a couple times. One time I didn't even know the other bird was there. It was behind some palmettos, behind the bird that I shot. Another time I had 2 toms. I waited for them to separate, pretty far, but one was further back and ended up killing 2 birds with one shot, 2 different times. And with the law being 1 bird per day, then I broke the law. I'm an illegal hunter. So that law change really, in my opinion, is a good thing. I don't think the harvest levels change significantly from it, but it protects hunters from becoming illegal hunters by accident. And that's the one thing I really like about that law change.
Good point. I hadn't thought about that either. Okay, well, getting back to, you got gator, you're going to do your gator egg collection later on, like in June?
June, July, yeah.
June, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I know we've got some really good information on the CWD that he's gotten together, but you've done some fishing. We got some fishing pictures.
Yeah.
These are. So let's start on these fishing pictures.
This is a good friend of mine, Marvin Lassiter. He's in his mid-70s, old-time fishing. Really learned how to fish those sandhill ponds really well. And he kind of taught me how to fish those really clear water lakes. You have to really finesse fish. You have to really use small diameter line, so you sacrifice some strength for some of those bigger fish, but you'll catch a lot more. So he's kind of taught me the ropes. And we were out there crappie fishing one day, and this is a picture of Marvin with one of the crappie we caught.
Oh, nice.
On the Sandhill ponds, but decent fish.
Nice.
We catch some pretty nice bass. We've caught some really nice ones, but this is kind of average type bass we catch up in the Sandhill ponds. I mean, nice fish. That's old Marvin.
And which lake is this?
Well, we fish several of the ponds, but
ones? Okay.
a lot of those lakes up there have a lot of jacks or chain pickerel, and some. But boy, I've lost a lot of tackle on pickerel. It's terrible, but they're fun fish to catch, and if you know how to cook them, where you gash them and fry them. I mean, they're good eating.
They're toothy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teeth.
A lot of bones, but it just cooks the bones and all, and you eat it all together.
Well, it's like a red horse sucker, the same kind of makeup and all that. So you cut the bones and slash them across. And, they're all good.
And bass. Well, everyone knows crappie is one of the best freshwater fish to eat, but the bass fillets are really good. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I love eating bass.
Young bass, I love them too.
Yeah.
What about this one here?
That's another jack. From one of the lakes. I think this one was actually Lucas Lake. We caught that jack in. A lot of jacks in Lucas, but. So we catch a lot of those when you're bass fishing. You catch a lot of jacks as.
Our Sandhill ponds are just fascinating throughout Bay, Washington, and Holmes County. It's amazing at the Sandhill ponds we have.
Yeah.
And now you said it might be anything around them, but now a lot of houses around them.
Right, and a lot of the Sandhill ponds are private. So you don't have, it's limited access. Some of them have public boat ramps, the larger ones, and they get a lot of fishing pressure. So the fishing's been good. I mean, catching a lot of. I'm enjoying it. When I was a kid, that's what I did. I was a bass fishing fool. I mean, I was a member of Bass, and I bought every lure that came on TV. And of course now you get more finesse fish. You know what the standard ones are. But
speaking of, here's a nice one here.
Yeah, that's a nice fish. I do a lot of rubber worm fishing with light tackle, but
look at here.
Some decent fish we catch. The biggest one that we've caught, Marv caught one, a nice one. It was close to 9 pounds. This is my future son-in-law, Jamie Young. He's a sheriff's deputy. He's fish he caught the other day.
Okay.
Nice fish. This is my son-in-law, and this fish, usually we release almost all fish that we catch. That one we had to keep because it swallowed the worm.
And that happens.
That happens. This is a nice fish Marvin caught. This fish was 8.5 pounds.
Goodness.
We don't target bedding bass. I like to protect those big females. The females are only on the nest for a couple hours anyway. Usually it's the male that's guarding the nest. But a lot of guys will target and they'll remove those big females, and we don't. We catch and release all.
That's a nice one there. Yeah. Okay. I tell you what, you did some hunting also, some really good hunting. Okay. So we'll take a quick break, come back with some hunting pictures. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Today with Steve Shay of Shay Wildlife, and we always enjoy having him on. I get a lot of feedback from the viewers. All of y'all always talk about a lot of information y'all appreciate. And now we're getting into bass fishing, but also you've been doing a bit of bird hunting this winter. So.
Yeah, my dad's 88 years old,
and
he's in his last seasons probably of hunting, but he's not going to be able to do it anymore. So
look at this.
I brought him down, and I live on a quail plantation right now. Where I'm renting the lodge until I get my house built. But we had a bunch of birds we put out, chuckers and quail, and this is my dad with his first chucker he ever killed. So, he's a proud hunter right there. But we had a good day. I mean.
I'll say you had a good day. Check this out.
That's my dad, and that's my brother in the middle. He basically helped my dad, put him in position when the dogs had the birds on point. So we killed a mess of birds that morning.
What a great picture. That was a family picture. You and your brother and your dad.
Yeah.
That's special.
Yeah.
A lot
the three amigos, we do a lot of hunting together, and Tom now, he basically just helps Pop. That's his role. Yeah.
And you had some dogs up there?
We actually had a group come in that actually does this for a living, and they'll do half-day hunts, and they'll put the birds out, and they get the dogs, and so you basically just get, it's fun.
That's how I hunt now, and I absolutely love it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it really is.
And those chuckers, I love those chuckers. Are a larger bird. They're
bigger
they're
meat.
easier. They fly better. Lots of times those quail, especially penbirds, they'll fly low. But those chuckers, they get up there, and it's good wing shooting. Really.
I haven't thought about that. We may start trying to release some of those chuckers. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, but
I've heard they're a bigger bird.
Oh, they're a bigger bird. Yeah.
And they go more.
And they go up.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, now I know we've talked off and on, and we're talking about the chronic. Let's get to chronic wasting disease, CWD, and of course it hit us, and just surprised everybody when it happened. But I know you've been in tune with FWC. You've talked a lot. A lot on research. So just we've got a little slide presentation. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, for people that aren't aware, if you want to bring up that first slide, we'll talk about. The chronic wasting disease was first found this past year in Florida. And the state really did a good job making sure that there wasn't a false positive. So they took backup samples. They sent samples to 3 different labs just to confirm that this was actually an infected deer.
Yeah.
And it was. They don't really know what the founder source of the infection is up there. There's a lot of high fence facilities that have brought deer in over the years from many places in the United States. So they suspect that could be the source. But one of the things, we had the CWD zone. I think we actually have a map of that. It actually shows the boundaries of the zone. They did intensive testing during this hunting season. I think they tested over 1,200 deer within the 3 counties of the infected area, and did not find any other positives. That's actually the zone right there being illustrated, Winston.
All the homes and Part Jackson and
north part of Washington.
I-10.
Yep.
Okay.
I-10's the boundary. So there was a bunch of regulations that the FWC put into place. These regulations are aimed at reducing the possibility for transmission to other deer.
Okay.
So this shows some of the other measures. So the increased surveillance. So they had you probably, any of you guys listen to WPAP, there was constantly ads from the FWC on the radio about encouraging hunters to, test deer, have them tested. There's drop-off facilities in the CWD zone, so you can just cut the head off, put it in there, they'll send that in for analysis. The state turns it around quickly. I mean, unbelievably how fast they were getting those samples analyzed. But over 1,200, and I think we actually have a slide of this, over 1,200 deer tested, and I think we had a map that shows the county. Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
And that's how many samples or individual deer were tested in those 3 different counties in the CWD zone, and no new positives were found, which is a good sign.
I mean, real good.
So what does that mean? So it means that lots of times if you get one positive, you say, well, that's the tip of an iceberg.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more other infected deer out there. But that was a pretty high sampling effort, and with no other positives found. So the incident rate is probably pretty low in that CWD zone. There's probably some other deer that have it, but it's not a high incident rate, which is good. So one of the good things is they probably won't expand the CWD zone, which is good for everyone else. So all you hunters that live around that zone, no worries there. So next season is be status quo as far as you can still use bait. But one thing I didn't realize this, Winston, is they extended the season in the CWD zone to try to encourage hunters to kill more deer. And they did allow them to use bait to put deer in front of the gun because it was more important to get more deer removed and have more animals to be tested than it was to have the corner placed and increase the infection rate. So that was a good thing. So,
I look at these numbers here, Steve, back up on the chart. Jackson County, 574. I mean, they reported, that was a lot of incidents they reported.
It's interesting, and when I talked to the FWC deer biologists, they told me that in Jackson County, the hunters were getting them a lot of deer. So in Washington and Holmes, the hunter turn-in for deer was low.
Okay.
They got most of the samples from road kills and from deer depredation permits. When farmers have crop damage, they issue tag or permits. That's where they got a lot of them. They got some from hunters too, but Jackson County, I think they kill more deer in that county as it is. But those hunters were really good at turning in, harvested deer for sampling. So
that's good.
That's great. Yeah.
So what do you think they're going to do next year?
So they'll try to encourage hunters to harvest more deer and to have those deer available for testing. So they're going to try to find ways to increase the sampling effort.
Okay.
But I don't think that they'll expand the CWD zone. I think the CWD zone will stay as it is, which is a good thing.
Good.
But the big thing is, and I'm happy about this, is it looks like the prevalence is probably pretty low in that area. So that's good news for hunters.
That's really good news.
It's good news for hunters.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of anticipation. Oh, what's the sampling going to show this year? How widespread is it? So in that core area. No new positives, and then they didn't find any positives anyplace else in the state. And they're sampling, of course, the whole state of Florida. So it's good news for hunters, good news for low prevalence of the disease.
And we had all anticipated that it was going to spread. I mean, because of all the other states, it had done that in other states. But this is a good sign that
well, the thing is, Alabama, which is the closest positive state to us, they had that one sample. I think they maybe only have found a couple more deer infected, and so it looks like it's low prevalence in Alabama as well. So all good signs for us.
Good deal. Okay, let's take our final break. We'll be right back with Steve. Okay, welcome back. Here with Steve Shay. We're trying to get everything squared away. Let's take a quick look at our fishing game times today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers in Port St. Joe. We're looking at 3:18 to 5:18 this morning and 3:46 to 5:46 this evening. And I always ask my guests about these fishing game times. So you've seen it in your career with the fishing game times where you catch them at certain times? What's your feeling?
I guess if you're retired, that could be important because you pick when you go. But when you're working, you go when you can go. It doesn't matter if fishing game times are good or bad. You can't catch them at the house.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. And that's some good news here. Steve is getting married.
Oh yeah!
Congratulations!
Yeah.
So we got it coming up pretty soon. A wedding.
Yep. I've been an empty nester, and now my fiance's coming in. She has a 17-year-old daughter.
Okay.
We'll be finishing high school here in actually up in Bozeman.
All right. Good deal.
So she's coming in. She actually lives in South America.
Okay. Well, the biggest thing now you always got to ask: does she like the outdoor stuff? Is she gonna go fishing with you, or what's this?
Well, she's actually from Ecuador, and so they don't hunt and fish over there that much. It's so much different than the United States. But I've on her trips to America, we've fished, and she hasn't hunted any yet, but she loves to fish, and she loves eating fish too. So that's a good thing.
Well, that's great. Quickly to get back to the CWD, we're talking about how we thought it might spread into Alabama, but you said they kept a good close look at it.
Yeah, because Florida tested so close to southern Alabama, I talked to the deer biologists in Alabama. They intensively tested on southern Alabama, just north of the Florida border, and they found no positives there either. So that's also a good sign. Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal. All right, so we've got a few minutes left. We've got turkey season coming up. I know you love the turkey hunt. So.
Yep, so Saturday, I'll be hunting here locally Saturday.
Okay.
And then early next week, I'll be going down to a good friend of mine, Hoppy Kempfer, owns Osceola Outfitters. They own a 25,000-acre ranch down in Osceola County, and I hunt with him every year. So I'll be going down there, try to kill a bird. So
what particular kind are you going to look for? Different kinds of birds, or just the big gobbler? Or?
Well, yeah, to me, turkey hunting, as long as it's an adult bird, I don't care if it's a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old.
Okay.
It's the hunt that's special. Every turkey hunt is different. It's two and ever the same.
You gonna look for Osceola down there?
Go for Osceola
down there.
Yeah. And of course Eastern's up here.
Yeah.
So
have you taken all the others? Have you taken all the species?
Yeah, I've got a few Grand Slams. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Now I've never done a Grand Slam in the same year. You know, that's you know, you got to do a lot of traveling to do it all in 1 year. You know.
Yeah. But what kind of turkey calling do you do?
I like slate the best. I use a diaphragm. Well, it depends.
Yeah.
If it's windy, I'll use a box call just so a gobbler can hear me, because it'll travel further.
Mm-hmm.
But most of my hunting, I'll use a slate, finesse calling with a slate, and then once the turkey's getting in range, I'll drop the slate, and I'll just use my diaphragm for the rest of the way.
That's cool.
So that's kind of, everyone does a little different.
Do you use decoys or?
Yeah, I use decoys quite a bit.
Yeah.
I have the really good luck with the old B Mobile from Primos, and I use it with a real fan on it. I've killed so many turkeys using that thing. It's not the safest thing to do. Definitely don't use it on public land, but I do a lot of fanning birds, with a tail fan.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people talk about doing that. I mean, we've been doing it for over 30 years, and we didn't say anything to anybody because we didn't want people to start using it and be unsafe with it. But I tell you what, it's unbelievable. It'll increase your success rate 100%.
No kidding.
It's crazy.
No kidding.
Crazy.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. What's in scheduling coming up? Like I say, for Shay Wildlife coming up next couple of months. What all you got to do?
Yeah. Well, the big thing is I'm writing a couple deer management plans right now. The state of Florida has the private lands deer management program, where you have special things that you can do with. You can use any legal method during all seasons. So as long as you do certain conservation measures, it's a program that helps landowners, encourages them to do conservation on their property. So I'm writing a couple deer management plans for a couple large ranches in Central Florida right now. So
what do you recommend for these small property owners, 40 acres? People got 20 and 40 acres. What do you recommend them to do to make the habitat better? What some things you would do?
It's interesting you asked that. I'm actually working with a small landowner in Washington County and in Calhoun County. They're the same situation. They only have 40 to 100 acres.
Yeah.
So what I do is I look at that 40 acres or that 100 acres in a larger area. So what is missing, or what benefits or attributes does that property have to make it attractive in a deer's home range?
Right.
So you look at how does that piece fit in with everything around it. And so then you target your management to make those changes so it's a valuable piece of that larger unit of land. And it's really an effective way to manage your property, so you can basically utilize what you have, the assets you have, to bring deer in from around you to make it special. It may be food resources because there's cover all around you. If there's no cover around you, make more cover. And so you have to make your little piece of the pie attractive to deer in surrounding areas.
That's interesting, and it's surprising how many deer show up on a small piece of property.
You could have 10 acres in a, say, up in the Midwest, and having that 10 acres is as good as having 500. Because it's in the right spot.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, we're about to wrap things up here. That's a lot of good information, good news on CWD.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And good luck on your gators and your deer management, and we appreciate you coming on.
All right, I always love coming, Winston.
I know you get a lot of feedback on that, don't you? People see you on the show, and
yeah, a lot of people actually say, "Hey, I saw you," and then they'll actually ask me questions because they had certain questions that were spurred up from our conversation.
That's cool. Folks, appreciate y'all watching. Do something good for someone else today. Enjoy the great outdoors and take care of it. God bless.
God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.